Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. My name is Mr. Cole, Triad High School in the math department. And I was sitting at home and having a lot of time on my hands, and I decided to go ahead and make a video about mask and mask safety. Before we start talking about mask and mask safety, the first thing we need to talk about is what is a mask? A mask is anything that is made of fiber or gauze and covers the wearer's mouth and nose area and protects them from air pollutants or bacteria and germs. It's also used in surgery to protect both the surgeon and the patient from the same thing, any infections. What we're going to talk about today is a few different types of masks that we have here. I'm going to talk about the few that I have at my house. The first one is more of a fixed size, so it has a fixed size from nose to mouth. It has two elastic bands for ear hoops, and then it also is made out of a very soft kind of t-shirt fabric. That one I believe we got off the internet. Next, family members have been making these. People that care about me make this one for me. It's the St. Louis Cardinals. Has the same ear loops, but what changes about this one, it does not have a fixed size because you can actually stretch it out with the pleats. It also has a metal band to form around your nose, and it also has a pocket so you could actually put some more material to protect your nose and your mouth inside of there. The next one's one of my favorites. It's called a gaiter. It's made out of a t-shirt material, and this one, it's a circle and it goes around your head and neck. You can use it kind of to pull it down and it goes down, or you could pull it up and make a headband out of it. I have been doubling these over to get extra protection. I feel like they're a little thin on the material, so it's one of those things where I double it up and then I make sure that it covers my nose and my mouth when I put it on. It doesn't pull as bad on the back of my ears, which makes it kind of nice. So those of you who are having issues with maybe it rubbing behind your ears, this might be a good option for you. This one is another gaiter. It's just made out of a nylon material, so more like a basketball short or Under Armour kind of dry fit shirt. I would double this one up and actually pull it on there. It does pull fairly tight across your face, but it doesn't pull on your ears as much. So that's the next gaiter. Both of those were bought online. This last one is the one that the school is providing, and it's a very simple elastic bands, pleated material to spread out over your face. And then it also has the metal bracket in order to adjust for your face shape. All right, let's talk about putting on your mask. The way this works is this mask has two elastic bands. Those elastic bands go around your ears. After you apply those, you will actually stretch the mask out to cover both the mouth and the nose area. And then the last would be to make sure that you form fit, if your mask has it, a little form fitting bar up there across the bridge of your nose. So you basically, the way I like to do it is take my mask, start it close to my mouth and my nose, put it around the back of my ears, adjust left to right using that, grab the top and bottom, stretch the mask out so that it covers both your mouth and your nose. I kind of like to go underneath my chin and try to get my nose. If I can't cover, if the mask is a little small, then I make sure that my definitely nose is covered. And then I like to press down on the bridge of my nose and the form-fitting area so that the mask fits snugly against my face above my nose. All right, let's talk about the rules of mask in the school building. First one is a fairly easy one. We've had this rule for masks the whole time. And let me show you an example of how not to wear your mask. In this case, the mask does cover the nose and the mouth area, but it also covers my eyes and everything else, making it a hazard in the hallway And I can now tell who you are. So rule number 1 for mask wearing is that the mask needs to only cover half of your face at a time. So in this case, it covers my nose and my mouth, but my eyes and the top half of my head are all visible for everyone to see. So rule number 1 is to make sure that your mask only covers half your face. That half of the face that it should be covering is your nose and your mouth to stay safe. All right, rule number 2 is one that goes all the way back to the handbook again. The mask needs to cover your nose and your mouth. But I have a tempting feeling that some of you are going to want to wear it like this. Possibly to be funny, possibly to look weird. But the rule in the handbook that says that you can't wear it like this is all of a sudden you've taken your mask from being a mask to being a hat. No hats in the building. So therefore, in order to make sure that your mask is worn correctly, make sure that your mask always covers your nose and your mouth. That is the proper way that a mask should be worn. Okay, rule number 3 involves the mask, and it involves the rule in the handbook about the showing of underwear or sagging of the pants. In this case, the mask is supposed to cover the nose and the mouth area. The proper way to wear the mask would be to cover the nose and the mouth area as such. The way to break a rule in the handbook and also to not wear your mask properly is to sag your mask down and to only cover your mouth area. This is not providing good protection for you or anyone around you. So rule number 3, don't sag your mask down. Make sure your mask covers both your nose and your mouth. All right, rule number 4, which is the last rule that I have for you to wear your mask properly, has to do with the straps on shirts. We'd like to see 2 straps on dress code, so we'd also like to see both straps on a mask. I have a feeling some of you are going to try to wear your mask on one ear. This neither protects your nose or your mouth. It doesn't do what the mask is intended to do, to keep the germs in or to keep them from you. So rule number 4 states that when you're wearing your mask, you should be using both straps on both ears. This rule ensures that you're covering both your nose and your mouth with your mask. This little segment I've titled Some Tips and Tricks, and really I only have 2 tips and tricks, and there are a ton out there that I've been seeing online. The first one has to do with what they call like a mask extender, and mine is this lovely little piece of black plastic silicone. It's got a little stretch to it, but what it does is it basically allows you to, instead of using the back of your ears, it actually uses that little kind of band to keep it on the back of your head. And that way, the whole day, the mask is not pulling on your ears, and instead is pulling kind of on each other on the back of your head. It's a nice little thing. It keeps the wear and tear on your ears, and it keeps them from kind of hurting. And the next little tip I have for the glasses wearers out there, what ends up happening to me a lot of times while I'm wearing my glasses is that they will start to fog up. And basically, what you need to do is grab yourself a little piece of athletic tape or medical tape, if I can find the end of it. But basically, apply a small strip of medical or athletic tape across the bridge of your nose on the edge of the mask. And basically what that's doing what that's doing is keeping kind of that hot air from coming out of the top of the mask, and instead the hot air exits out the sides and out the bottom of the mask, and it keeps that from kind of fogging up your glasses. So my 2 tips: number 1, the extender on the back helps the back of my ears, and number 2 is that little piece of tape across the top edge of the mask to keep it from fogging up my glasses. Okay, now what we're going to talk about making your own mask if you don't have any of those other options, kind of as the CDC recommends. So the first thing I'll tell you need is some sort of piece of fabric. So here I have a handkerchief. It was cut, but you can have any handkerchief or any piece of fabric. I've also been known to use the edge of a t-shirt or the kind of a piece of a t-shirt. You'll also need 2 rubber bands. I have 2 pretty standard size rubber bands there. So that's kind of all you should need for this. First thing I would do is tell you to kind of fold bottom or top in. And your general guidelines is however wide your mask is going to be from top to bottom is kind of how far it's going to be from nose to mouth. So depending on if you have a smaller face, you'd want to make that just a little bit smaller, and so on and so forth. Then what I say is I like to say, take your rubber bands, and it's almost to make a candy kind of wrapper. If you've ever seen a candy wrapper, the first rubber band goes on. Next, and in this case, it just goes around. I try to do nothing fancy with this one. And the next thing I would tell you is from rubber band to rubber band is how far it will fit across your face, or how far it'll stretch out. I like to actually kind of keep mine a little bit closer. You also have to understand what's going to happen next when you fold these ends in on the rubber bands. It's actually going to triple or quadruple the fabric inside of here. And once you have that, what you have is a mask right there. So these are like the elastic bands. This is the front of the mask, and then your rubber bands go there. Very easy way, and you can actually use pretty much any piece of fabric that you have laying around the house. Okay, first test. 5 milliliters of paint. 5 milliliters of paint. Air pressure applied. This is like a sneeze across the table. No mask applied to either person. Only safety goggles. Safety always first. Next test. I'm wearing a mask. Sneezer is not wearing a mask. subjects wearing mask.
This has been a Daddy-Daughter production.